Decluttering is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't expect to declutter your entire home in a weekend. Take one step at a time and don't be afraid to take breaks when you need them. And if you're the A-type personality that only has so much time and is determined to declutter the house in a weekend, well, expect those emotions to come out just as quickly. Welcome back to another episode of Friday Focus on the Declutter for Change podcast. I'm your host, Heather Clark, your declutter expert. As I mentioned this past Tuesday's episode, 030 BYOC Blitz Invite, I switched the two episodes for this week as I was opening the doors for the BYOC Early Bird Special. If you missed out on that, I do have a waiting list for when the doors officially open. I'll put that link down in the description. Today's episode, we're diving deep into the topic that often gets overlooked, the emotional roller coaster of decluttering. Now, many of you listeners are familiar with the physical aspect, sorting, donating, throwing things out. But have you ever stopped to consider the emotional upheaval that will happen when letting go? I especially want to talk to those who have gone through major life changes. Maybe you're in your 40s or 50s, a time of transition for many women. Your kids might have grown and flown the coop. Maybe you've experienced a divorce or a career shift. Or maybe an unexpected newborn baby has arrived. These big events can trigger a natural desire to declutter your physical space, and that's fantastic. But what happens when you start digging through those boxes and drawers and all of a sudden you're faced with a wave of emotions you were not expecting? When I first started, it was all about creating a more organized space. I was tired of feeling overwhelmed by not knowing where things were, and I knew I needed a change. But what I didn't anticipate was how emotionally charged the process would be. Picking up a dusty photo album could bring back a flood of memories, some joyful, some heartbreaking. Holding on to old pieces of clothing might trigger feelings of nostalgia for a time that was long gone. It was like the emotions I'd tucked away were suddenly bubbling up to the surface. Now, some of these emotions might not be the most pleasant ones. You might find yourself feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, maybe even angry at yourself for holding on to things for so long. Tears are absolutely normal. And let's be honest, sometimes a good decluttering session calls for a full-on cry or even a good scream into a pillow to release that pent-up energy. I absolutely think it's important to allow ourselves to experience the emotions no matter the form they show up as. Emotions are energy in motion. When you suppress them, they can build up and eventually lead to bigger problems: depression, anxiety, substance abuse, self-harm, etc. But by allowing yourself to feel them fully, you can start to process them and let go. So the next time you find yourself getting emotional during decluttering, don't try to shut those feelings down. Embrace them, let them out. That scream into a pillow might be just what you need. Or smashing that old dish against the brick wall, in a safe way, of course. There's a reason things like a rage room exist. Sometimes it's not a cry you need. It's being able to break stuff in a safe manner. But the good news is the emotional journey of decluttering isn't all doom and gloom. There's also a tremendous sense of liberation that comes with letting go. As you clear out the physical clutter, you're also clearing out emotional baggage. You might feel lighter, freer, and more in control of your life. It can be like the weight lifted off your shoulders, both literally and figuratively. For example, one time I came across a box of old journals from my early 30s. Reading them brought back a lot of insecurities and challenges from that time in my life. I was newly divorced, no longer living with my children 24/7, being fired for the first time in my life, and much, much, much more. But as I read through those entries, I realized how much I had grown and overcome. It allowed me to appreciate the woman I am today. In fact, I'm living my goals my 2017 version of me dreamt of. Ultimately, letting go of those journals was a powerful symbol of letting go of my younger self's struggles and embracing who I am now. I just did a full moon burn this past weekend of journal entries I made from 2019 to 2022. And holy, did those burn. Those old journal entries had some serious energy that needed to be released. Actually, this was the first time I had to use the water jug I always keep beside me for safety reasons. If you're interested to see the photo of the gorgeous, colorful flames before I had to put them out, head over to the show note at declutterforchange.com/emotional journey. Decluttering is not just about the physical space, it's about creating space for the new version of you. The woman you are now is likely different from the woman you were last year, let alone 10 to 20 years ago. Her dreams, goals, and desires have evolved. When you declutter, you're making room for a new version of you to flourish. Here are some tips that I have for navigating the emotional ups and downs of decluttering. Be gentle with yourself. I've said it time and time again, decluttering is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't expect to declutter your entire home in a weekend. Take one step at a time and don't be afraid to take breaks when you need them. And if you're the A-type personality that only has so much time and is determined to declutter the house in a weekend, well, expect those emotions to come out just as quickly. Allow yourself to feel the emotion. Don't try to suppress your tears, tantrums, anger, or bursts of frustration. Acknowledge your feelings and let them go. Maybe take a few deep breaths, step outside for some fresh air, put bare feet on the grass, or do whatever helps you process the emotions in a healthy way. As I said earlier, sometimes you just need to break something in a safe way. Focus on the positive. Decluttering isn't just about letting go, it's about creating something new. As you declutter, visualize the space you want to create, the business you are wanting to build, feelings you want to evoke. This can be a powerful motivator and help you stay focused on the end goal. Celebrate your progress. Decluttering can be a challenging process, so don't forget to celebrate your wins, big and small. Did you finally tackle that overflowing junk drawer? Did you finally donate the bag of clothes you've been driving around for weeks? Acknowledge these accomplishments and be proud of yourself. Seek support. Decluttering doesn't have to be a solo mission. Actually, I recommend you never declutter alone. Reach out to a friend or family member who can offer support and encouragement. There are also online communities dedicated to decluttering, hint, hint, Declutter for Change community, where you can connect with others who understand the challenges and triumphs of the process. Now, let's address the embrace the chaos stage I mentioned earlier. It's completely natural to feel overwhelmed when you're starting to declutter. You might be staring at a mountain of stuff, unsure where to even begin. The good news is the chaos is a sign of progress. Why is the chaos stage actually a good thing? Think about it like this. When you're renovating a house, it's messy before it's beautiful. The same goes for decluttering. You have to pull everything out, assess the situation, and figure out what needs to stay and what needs to go. So embrace the chaos. It's a temporary state and it's a necessary step on a path to more organized and peaceful life. Here are some tips to navigate the chaos stage. Start small. Don't try and tackle your entire house at once. One drawer, one shelf, or even one corner to declutter. This will help it feel more manageable and prevent you from getting overwhelmed. Set realistic goals. Don't aim to declutter your entire home in a weekend. Set small, achievable goals for yourself and celebrate your accomplishment along the way. Set aside dedicated time. Schedule specific times in your week to declutter. This will help you stay focused and make progress. Schedule it or forget it. Focus on one category at a time. Maybe you start with clothes, then move on to books, then kitchen gadgets. This can make the process feel less daunting. The embrace the chaos stage is where the real transformation happens. As you declutter, you're not just getting rid of stuff, you're making space for the new version of yourself. It might be a new career path, a new relationship, or simply a renewed sense of peace in your own home. So embrace the tears, the tantrums, and the chaos. They're all part of the incredible journey of decluttering and creating the life you truly deserve. Remember, as you simplify, each item that you let go of brings you one step closer to a lighter, freer, more aligned life. As you clear out the clutter, be kind to yourself and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Keep sorting, keep simplifying, and keep thriving. And hey, if you want more decluttering tips and inspiration or just want to connect, be sure to follow me on social media. You can find me at Declutter for Change. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy decluttering.